Hello, this is Carolyn with Crafting with Wine, and I wanted to come on and do a little tutorial on giant flowers that I am making several of, or many of, to make a photo backdrop. And I'm sure you guys have seen them all over Pinterest and different things like that, and that's what inspired me. So what I've got here is, I forgot to film the designing of it, but I'll give a real quick overview of what I did. I just went in and searched images for a leaf, and let me just move it to the front for a minute. So I just pulled out a leaf that I liked, a single leaf, and it's one layer. That's the way it's going to cut. And I have sized this leaf to be 8.5 inches high, and I kept it locked so it would stay in proportion. So 8.5 inches high, which makes it 7.77 inches wide. So I'm just going to move that back to the back for a minute. Then I inserted a circle and I made it 3 inches, and that's what I did with that, and I'll show you where that comes into play. And you're going to need a couple of those, and you may want to use 3 on your projects, but at this point I'm using 2. Now this long part right here is from another flower design, and let me see where I got that from. You can click on the image and then click the little scissors, and if you see, when you pull that up here in your layer attributes, there's a little eye in a circle, and that means information. So I'm going to click on that, and that comes from the Giant Flowers cartridge, and it is actually part of the zinnia. And what I did with this is just pulled it out, deleted all the other parts because I only wanted this part. And I believe this is called for the stamen of the flower, the center of the flower where all the nectar and stuff is. So I pulled that over and put it in here, and I'm making this 10 inches wide by 2.92 inches high. And then the next thing that I did was I went to insert images, and the only thing I did is I searched for rain. And let me show you what I did. It takes a few minutes to get it all set up. And this is actually an image that I own. It's got 2 clouds and 4 raindrops. And what cartridge? Oh, that's from Disney's Pooh and Friends cartridge. So I just pulled that image over and sliced and deleted all the things that I didn't want, and kept the one raindrop, the large raindrop, and from there I manipulated it and played with it, and I've made 3 sizes of petals, and I've got them in different colors here. And I've got them that way because when you actually look at a flower growing in your yard or whatever, the outside layers of the petal are lighter, the middle ones are a little darker, and then the center is the darkest. So that's how I've got it set up, and that's how I've been cutting them. I've been using 3 different variations of the same color. And then what I did on the large one, its size is 10.5 inches high, and it's 4 inches wide. Now, if you see here, I've got this slit here, and what I did is I created a 2-inch high score line. Then I placed it in the dead center on the bottom of my petal and attached it. And then once I had it all attached, I just went over to the layers panel and clicked on my score line and made it a cut line. So that's how I did that. So the second layer of my petal, the second largest, is 8.75 inches high by 3.5 inches wide. And then my smallest one is 6 inches high and 3 inches wide. So that's what I have done here. And let me show you with putting one together. I'm going to put one together that I've already got all cut out and different things done. And I use a hot glue gun. I hate hot glue guns. We don't play well together. Me and hot glue guns do not play well together. And I'm sure I'm not the only one whatsoever. But this is going to, the hot glue gun will make this much simpler and much easier. So let me move you over to my other desk where we can assemble this, and I'll be right back. Okay, I want to share with you some of the tools that I'm using and what I'm doing. My horrible hot glue gun. I've got old Stampin' Up! Ink pad that is crushed curry. This is the color I've chosen to use. I got a Tim Holtz ink blender, and I'm using the square one. I have the round one and I prefer them better, but I'm using the square one because those are all the foam pads I had left. I didn't have any round ones. I've got a clear Wink Castella glitter brush pen, my bone folder, and then the small petals, my large petals, and my medium petals, my circles, and my stamens. And before we get started with the other things, just to let you know, I've cut out 6 of each petal size, and I cut out 3 of the stamens, and I don't know, I got 7 or 8 circles here because I just cut out a bunch of those all at once, so I didn't have to worry about cutting those out each time. And they're going to be hidden, so it doesn't really matter what color those are. And right now I've got everything inked up with my ink pad around the edges except for 2 things. So I'm just going to move these out of the way for just a second. And I'm doing this just in case you don't know. I'm going to open up my ink pad here. If I can get it open. It tries to stick. I think I'm doing it with the wrong hand. That's my problem. And I'm just going to take my ink dauber, dab it in my ink, and then I just sponge around the edges. And I've done this to every petal. It just gives it a more finished look, and I think it looks better. And mostly because the paper that I'm using is white core, so I don't want those white edges to show. Just looking and making sure I've got it all inked well, because I like it to come over onto the paper a little bit too. Oh, and I guess I should share with you the paper pad that I used. It is Die Cuts with a View, and this one is the neutral cardstock pack. And I just picked this up at Michael's a day or 2 ago, and those were on sale. I think they typically sell for 20 bucks, and they were on sale without the coupon for 50% off. So I picked up 3 pads of those because I'm going to be making lots of flowers, and that's so. And I love those. They're like a pastel muted colors to me. Now I wanted to show you how I'm doing the inking of my stamen parts too. And I've got a Teflon sheet down here where nothing will stick to it, and I can wipe up and clean up real easy. And I just take my ink pad, and I'm not caring how blotchy or anything that it looks. I just want to get a good layer of ink because I'm going right to the paper instead of off the paper, starting off the paper and coming onto the paper. I want to do it right on the paper because I don't care. And because we're going to roll these, what I want to do is both sides with ink, because you're going to see both sides. On my petals, I just wanted to do the fronts because you're not really going to see the back. And if they're going to get down and look at the back, then they deserve to see ugly on the back, in my opinion. So I'm not worried about that. So I've got that one inked up on both sides. I'm going to put my ink pad, close my ink pad up and put it away. Just got a baby wipe, and I'm just going to wipe up the ink so I don't get it on anything else. And you can see it come right over on my wet wipe, or baby wipe. So, and then the next thing that I do is I start with my largest. I'm kind of OCD. I can't go out of order. And I take my bone folder and I just go about halfway down the petal and just pull up on it while flipping it over. And I do it on both sides. And I do that to all of them. I do this to every petal. So let me finish doing this and let me come back and show you then what I do to even help with my curves a little better. So that won't take me very long. Take me maybe 3 or 4 minutes to get those all curved. So I'll be right back. I started putting my stamen together, so I wanted to show you what I'm doing. What I've done here, this is already 2 of my pieces, and I roll them and then I keep attaching them around. So my third and final piece, I'm going to show you. I started putting my stamen together, and I got 2 layers of the 3 already put together, and you just roll them and then keep rolling one on top of the other. So on my final one here, I'm going to show you how I'm doing this. I take my Wink Estella brush, and I'm not going to be perfect. It's just sloppy. It doesn't matter. I'm just going to put down some glitter on all of these little parts that will show. And it's shimmer, which has glitter in it, obviously. And I got to do both sides because both sides are going to show. Uh-oh, I squeezed it too much and I got way too much glitter out. Okay, now I'm going to put the cap back on that. I'm going to clean up my mess here. Oh goodness, I'll have glitter everywhere, and my fingers are already gross and nasty. They match my fingernails. I'm in horrible need of a manicure. I got to get that done. Now, with these 2 that I've already put together, I made this end here that's got this little point and stuff on it. My end piece, it was the final piece that I rolled, and this was the first piece. This time I'm going to do it, for my last one, I do it the exact opposite. And what I'm going to do is just start laying down a little bead of hot glue and find my seam and start from there. I'm going to lay it right on top and get it started. Be careful not to get your fingers in the hot glue, obviously. And it doesn't matter what the bottom looks like. It's going to be hidden. Nobody's going to see that anyway. And then just keep going, putting a thin bead of hot glue along the bottom. Sorry, don't mean to be getting my hands and fingers in the way. So here we are at the end. You can see that it rolls up real fast. And then put a bead up the side at the end. And then just roll that on over. Give it a second to dry. And I take my bone folder and kind of mash down the ends, push them in so that it's a little bit of a flatter surface. And then we come up here, we've got a nice big full one, and I just take my bone folder in to start bending them out and down. You can do it with your fingers too. And that looks pretty good to me. I don't know if the camera's picking up on the shimmer and shine, but it's really sparkly. You can probably even see it on my hands. So I'm going to set that to the side now to finish drying. I've got all my petals here, as you can see, with a nice little curve on them. And then to help, when I have all 6 of them together, I just make sure they're lined up real good, and I just take it and kind of fold it over without making a crease. That just helps get more of a bend and keeps it there for me. And you can see I got my slits there. So we'll do this with all of them, all sizes. So there's that one, and then here's my small ones. So now we're ready to go. Now what you need to do, I don't guess you need to, but I start with the large ones. And the first thing I'm going to do is go down here and put a little dab of hot glue at the bottom down there, kind of in the center of where my slit is. And then we're going to take it over and just do a very small crisscross. Hold it for just a second so that it attaches and adheres well. And you can see there what we've got. We've got a nice, beautiful petal shape going on here. We got a little cute bend here, which helps it to stand up and pop out. And what I do is go through and do this with all of them. And you just get them all going. And so, just keep going. Right like so. So let me get these all attached like that with the glue gun, and then I'll come back and show you the next step. I got all my large ones done, and you can see that I just barely crisscrossed them down here with a little fishtail at the end. What I wanted to share with you real quick while I'm doing my other 2 layers, we're going to do these exactly the same with the little bead of glue, but with the next layer we're going to go crisscross a little more. We're going to make a little bigger fishtail than the first one. So I wanted to show you that. I'm not worried about that big ball of hot glue right there because all of that's going to be hidden, and that's for my middle layer. Now for my smallest layer we're going to do the same thing, but we want to come over a lot further. We're going to make a great big fishtail this time. So wanted to share that with you, and you can see when we do that, this petal really stands up a whole lot more than the others. So just wanted to share that. Each time, the big one, you make your fishtails real little because it makes a fishtail the way we've got it. On your middle size, we make the fishtail a little bit bigger, and then on our small one, we make our fishtail really big. So just wanted to share that because I was forgetting that step, and that's an important step because you got to do that with each one when you fold them over and hot glue them. So let me finish my medium and small, and I will be back for the next step. Okay, I've got all of those glued down, and I'm going to start with my largest layer here. And what I'm going to do is take my glue gun, and down here on these fishtails I'm going to put a dollop of glue and then go up the side just about a ½ an inch on the one side. And I'm going to take my next one and then I'm just going to lay them down to where a little bit of each side is touching right where that glue is, and my fishtails are intersecting. So you can see there what we're doing. And then you just keep repeating the process. This actually goes really fast. As you can see, I already have 4 of them put down. And then I'll go ahead and do all of this one on camera so I can show you how you do the last piece. And then I'll do the rest of them off camera and then come back and show you then how we put it all together. Call those little pieces of hot glue string spider webs because that's what they feel like. Okay, now we're to our last piece. We're going to put another dollop of glue down here, but we're going to put a little bead up this side and then up the other side as well. Then we're going to put this one on. And do that and hold it down. So there it all is, and it's huge. And I guess I probably forgot to tell you, the diameter of this section right here measures 21.5 inches, and that's the reason I'm having such a hard time getting it all on camera. I can't. And if I remember, I'll take pictures at the end that are far away so you can see them all. And if you wanted, this is 6 petals. If you wanted, you could add another couple of petals. And I'll probably do that with some of them. And I'm thinking about making 1 or 2 that's even larger than this, because I'm looking to do about 18 of these, and they're going to be in varying sizes, and the only thing you do is change the size of your petal to vary on those sizes. So let me get these other 2 sections put together, and I'll come back and show you how we're going to attach them all. Okay, I tried to zoom out a little better so you can see a little more. This is my middle layer, or not middle layer, top layer. This is my bottom layer, my biggest layer. And here's my medium layer, my very middle layer. And what I like to do is take one of my circles here that I cut, my little 3-inch circles, and what I'm going to do is going to just be very generous with my hot glue here and put a great big dollop right in the center. And then I'm going to place my circle right in there. Give that a second to dry, or to cool down so I can touch it a little better too. So you can see there. And that just helps to make this a little sturdier right there. Now, in the center of this big circle I just put in, I'm going to put another big dollop of glue. Let me help my glue gun here a minute. Right in the center of that circle. And I'm going to take my middle layer, and I'm going to, before I attach it, I'm going to make sure my petals are going in between my other petals. You see how I did that? I made sure they were being centered in between the gaps. So I'm going to press it down and in, and it's starting to come together and to look like a beautiful flower. Now here's my center section that will go right in here. And this time I'm not going to put a circle down. Don't need to. Don't feel like I need to. And I'm just going to put another healthy dollop of hot glue in there, keeping it right in the center. And then I'm going to press my center section of my flower in there. Again, trying to make sure the petals are offset again from the layer before it. And there we go. And it's looking really pretty so far. I'm really liking it. Now, I have another circle here. And this circle I also inked around because it's going to go in the center of this one. And it can be visible. And so we need it to look pretty and stay in good looking order for what we want to see, because everybody's going to see it if they look. Now I've got my little stamen piece here, just playing around with it again, getting glitter all over me. And here's the bottom of it. And I'm just going to cover this in hot glue. Then I'm also going to put a little dab of hot glue right in the center of that circle. And I'm going to press this down and try to center it as best I can. Now I'm going to give that just a second to set up and dry. Cool and dry. And don't drive yourself crazy playing with this, because trying to get these all to come out, because I know I've done it and it doesn't matter. It's not supposed to be perfect. Okay, that's set up and cooled pretty well now. Now what I'm going to do is come back over to my flower here. Play with these petals a little more. And I'm going to put a big dollop of glue right in the center of my circles that my stamens attach to. And then pop it in the center of my flower. Press it down, manipulate it a little bit. I'm just holding it with a little bit of pressure just to make sure that it attaches well. Get all those freaking spider webs away. I hate a spider, and that's what hot glue reminds me of. So, you know, I'm sure you guys are with me. We all become ninja fighters as soon as we walk into a spider web, and I just can't stand a spider. I can take just about anything, but a spider is something I just don't handle well. And there we go, and it's got a wonderful, beautiful center as well. Now, with one of my other circles, what I'm going to do with it is place it on the bottom of my large flower to make it look prettier. And I would do that right now, but I'm out of fishing line, and when I put that bottom circle on, I string fishing line in a large loop, and I use fishing line because it is strong. It takes severe effort to break it, and it can't be seen. And that way I can choose to hang these from command hooks if I choose to when I have fishing line on them, and that's what I like to do. And then if I don't choose to hang them from the ceiling or wall with a command hook, then I can use some pretty heavy duty glue dots and put them on there. But don't put glue dots on the wall. Glue dots will damage your wall. It'll pull the paint off. So that's what I would do. I would like to see what you guys think of this. And do you guys make photo backdrops? And I'm doing this for a party, making these for a party that I'm having for my mother, who is turning 70 at the end of next month, and she's never had a birthday party, and it's going to be a surprise party. And we've got lots of wonderful people that are coming, and it's going to be so much